Two championship leaders on the front row as they start by points. It's the final oval of 2018. Just 3 to go to decide the championship. IndyCar racing under the lights on the oval. It's go time from Gateway.
Not a great start for Rossi. He got jumped by a couple guys. Look at Will Power on the outside.
Whoa.
Big move.
The power move looking high. He goes around his teammate Newgarden. Now Pagano is challenging Rossi.
Rossi's getting swallowed up. He's going to lose. Oh,
Yellow.
got a car spinning and damage to Bourdais. What a shame.
He was fast yesterday in practice, but he won't get through the first lap. For the second year in a row, there's a crash on the opening lap here.
Last year it was Bourdais getting caught up.
You okay, Seb? You okay?
In Will Power's
fine.
incident. Nice to hear that he's fine.
Set to go green this time, on board with Alexander Rossi, who rides in third. Joseph Newgarden had a little moment. He's right behind him in fourth.
Green.
And then Simon Pagano back to green, racing at Gateway. Ryan Hunter-Reay pops out, looking for a position in the back, and Alexander Rossi is trying to go to the low side of Joseph Newgarden.
Well, I'll tell you what, he wasn't going to the low side. Newgarden was coming around him. That was 2 bad starts in a row for Rossi. He didn't get a very good initial start, and he missed that one as he tries to come back now on the outside, but that's going to be a tough one to do.
Be fun to watch.
Oh.
Newgarden had a big moment there. This might allow Rossi to come right back on him on the front straight. Here comes Rossi.
Big protect move down the outside. He did the same move last
Whoa.
year. He's going in deep.
You know where he learned that? From Joseph Newgarden last
what,
year,
Rossi's
putting that
got
move
another
on
run.
Pagano.
Another big run coming off the corner. Rossi's car cuts so good on the bottom, but Joseph Newgarden protecting the bottom of the track. He's got another run on him. Newgarden keeps running up high. He's got another run.
Ryan,
Look at that.
back and holding it, 2 back.
Meanwhile, Ryan Hunter-Reay has moved up to fifth and is within range. Yeah, he's been working on Newgarden for third, and here's some recent radio communication we picked up off the 27 radio.
You're the only car that can run that close to anyone. Be patient, it'll come to us. Yeah, copy that, same page.
How often do you hear the drivers say, be patient, it'll come to us?
Absolutely. That shows how confident he is in his ability of when he's going to make his move. But most guys would be screaming on the radio, I can't get close, I need a change, I need wing, I need tire. And he's just, hey, I'm going to wait it out here. And he knows he's got a good car.
How much are things likely to change from early in a stint towards the end of the stint?
Well, I think like we talked about 20 laps ago, I think Newgarden's better at the beginning. Rossi's better all the way through the stint. And here I think you see Newgarden kind of hanging on a little bit. Rossi able to draw ever closer, but can he get by? That's the question.
The way I can see these guys driving as we go back to Dixon here, it looks like Newgarden is really driving into the corner deep, and Rossi's back in the corner up and getting a good run off.
Down to Anders, he's with Mike Hull, is calling strategy for Scott Dixon.
And Mike Hull, obviously, Scott Dixon being held up in traffic right now. How early do you consider coming into the pits now that the 4-stop window's open?
Well, I couldn't hear all of that, but I think the answer you want to hear is we have a really well-balanced car. We worked really hard last night, that 90-minute session, to do what we're doing right now. But we also found out last night the track really changes as the temperature comes down. I think that's the key to the race.
Any thoughts about when you're going to bring him in?
Well, in the 50s, I would guess everybody, provided it's green, will come in the 50s.
Thanks very much. It's Mike Hull.
And that's right on target for the 4-stop strategy. Good information from Anders and Mike Hull. Scott Dixon in charge so far. He's led all 41 laps, about a quarter of the way through the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Just on the Illinois side of the Mississippi River, outside of St. Louis, is Alexander Rossi. Makes a move on Joseph Newgarden, going for third, and he stormed that position.
That's the Newgarden move from last year, and he just put it back on Newgarden. What a pass.
Dose of his own medicine. And that was really tight for Alexander Rossi between Newgarden and the wall on the front straight. You could see the dust flying up. Nobody's been there at any point since we arrived here.
Looked like my move on Carpentier a few years back. But he got the run right there, and Newgarden knew right away and protected. And he said, I'm coming through, don't matter. He had the momentum. Great pass, unbelievable. Some of the passes he's pulled off this year, Townsend, especially Indy on those restarts, unbelievable.
Well, especially passing a guy who is his equal. I mean, Joseph Newgarden has pulled off. Think of the moves Newgarden put on not only Pagano here last year, also at Mid-Ohio, a few weeks ago. But it's all Alexander Rossi on the charge. He's got to clear this lap car, and he can go after Power and Dixon.
Scott, they're going to pit him now. So here's Newgarden in.
Lap 60, so this suggests 4 stops to make it home.
And as you said, Townsend, if you do not make it to 62, it's unlikely this is going to be a 3-stopper. Now remember, he was loose early on in his stint. You see that Ryan Hunter-Reay is following him in. So these will be simultaneous pit stops. We'll watch both of them at the same time to see who can get the track position. No changes. Yes, changes on the front wing. Drop back to Anders. And it's been silent on the radio of Scott Dixon. Mike Hull just keeping him updated on everything that's going on. He didn't say that he wanted any changes from the car. However, just reducing 2 turns to front wings, a little bit of oversteer for Scott Dixon.
Power and Rossi still on track, trying to get to 62. The gap right now is 1 second. If a yellow were to come out now, these guys would really be in a jam because they've got about a lap and a half. As we see, Rossi's now in the pit lane.
Well, this is the answer. This is a little bit early. It's possible that this could work for you as it's just ticking over to lap 62 right now. This is on the edge. At least it keeps him in the window with an opportunity. Obviously, it's brand new tires, and that's a lot of front wing. All right, now for Will Power, he will be the next one that we see service. And by the way, I asked him what they changed on this car before the race. He said front springs, rear springs, gears, toe, camber. They changed everything on this car, and he's doing well. But look on the track. Dixon has got by Rossi.
The in and out laps are going to be critical here. Rossi's got some traffic here, but he might be able to leapfrog this guy right here as he comes out of the pit lane. It's going to be a race when they come off of turn 2. We'll see where they end up. Here comes the leaders.
There's Dixon, orange and blue car. Rossi just behind. You see Will Power exiting the apron, trying to get up to speed. Can he get in front of Dixon? It doesn't look like it.
He's close. He almost those extra laps. He almost got ahead of Dixon, and Rossi's still stuck behind Matheus Lace.
Simon Pagano is now in.
Yes, and it's worth watching these cars. Just remember who is pitting now, because when they get back on the track, and look at this move on the racetrack.
On the outside, Will Power going for the lead. Side by side with Scott Dixon.
He ran high, way out in the gray. He tried to go too wide and ran wide. Rossi takes advantage. Rossi might get a run now on Dixon.
Over 100 laps of green flag running. There's going to be dust and marbles on that high line, and Power just figured that out. Challenge down the front straightaway, but great defensive move from Dixon.
Well, I think he might have got passed by his teammate, maybe. No, he did not. So that was lucky he didn't get up into the wall. He tried to hug it down tight. Oh, look at Newgarden loose right there.
Something happened to Newgarden because he was right behind Will Power. They were separated by just a few tenths of a second, and now Newgarden is slowing down.
Newgarden got... We don't know what's going on here with Newgarden. He got real loose. He might have hit the wall just like he did last night.
You can see the marbles, Paul, flying off his tires. Let's go to Anders.
And here comes Scott Dixon again. He reported a little bit too much understeer from that previous stop. So let's watch for them to add at least another turn of front wing. 1, 2. A full turn and a little bit of a hiccup there as Scott Dixon pulls out, Jan. Now this is surprising. Will Power, he went the longest last time, but he has brought in, meaning he was using fuel. We watched Joseph Newgarden as Dixon leaves the pit, but that was a longer stop for Joseph Newgarden. The only visible change they made was the front wing.
The guy who's now on the track now, Rossi, has made up that fuel deficit. He's still running. We'll see if he comes in next lap, so it's going to be critical for him to make a good in and out.
Rossi getting phenomenal mileage on that last stint. There you hear Rob Edwards, pit, pit, pit. Let's look at this again. Look at Power coming down the front straightaway. Dixon defends.
You're going to see Will Power here. He's going to try to hug him tight and stick right on his side pod, but he comes out of the groove and goes way up high, and there goes Rossi, goes right by.
Right on board with Dixon, looking out the back at Power.
Alexander Rossi has been able to go farther than those he was racing with, but is it far enough? This is still on the issue. I think you still would want to go 1 or 2 more laps to be sure you can make it in that 3-stop strategy. But he obviously is ahead of the game because he's pitting after Newgarden, he's pitting after Dixon, and after Will Power. That's 7.8 seconds, gets all the Sunoco, and we'll go back to see if this will be the overcut if he picks up any position.
Their stop was a 6.9, that was a 7.9. They're going to come out right close together here.
Dixon beats Rossi. Where is
Will Power? So he's still going to slide into second. Pagenaud right there has slid up into that group, ahead of Power right now. So we've got a couple cars haven't pitted.
All these drivers are learning that there really aren't marbles. There's like a fine rubber, sand, or dust. And that's causing the issues. If you get just a little bit offline to the high side, you're going for a ride.
So there are 2 teammates. That's Power. You can see more orange on his Verizon colored car than Newgarden's tonight. They came close. And we're also told that Pagenaud did not hit the wall, just came very close.
He just missed the entry there. You'll see here, he protects down the inside, and then he sweeps out to the outside, and then he just turns in a little bit too late and misses that line, and he's just a little bit high, and he can't recover from it. He just gets stuck out there.
He was simply trying to leave his teammate room, and he has no idea until he experiences it, like we saw earlier with Newgarden, that there's just a lot of this accumulated rubber, dust, and sand up high. And I think it's from the harder compound tire that they've brought back. So should we get a yellow, if we get a yellow, we'll be probably seeing the track sweepers come out. Interestingly enough, this is the first season, guys, since 1990 that we've had this few number of yellows as Rossi's now up in the gray.
He's the only guy that's hung on. Oh, there, he almost hit the wall. Oh my God, he saved it. I don't know how he saved that, but he stayed all the way around the corner with Will Power, and somehow he kept that off the wall.
He might have saved not only the car, but the championship for Alexander Rossi. That could have been disastrous in the points. Here it is again, side by side with Power.
He didn't give up, he just stayed there, and it went loose big time, and he's lucky he didn't slap the wall. Hunter Ray goes by, he loses 2 positions.
Wow.
Still there. Still there, nothing behind you.
Full arms locked, opposite
clear.
lock. So look at that sideways. Unbelievable.
You talk about slide job. There's your slide job.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Rossi will be fine. He now knows what's lurking for him on the high side. He's just got to settle back in. Hey, good news is, guys, you lift to save it. You also save a little fuel, and Rossi's got to do that to make it on one more stop.
Well, as you mentioned, that could have been a championship save. The top 4, certainly everyone but Scott Dixon, they can't afford a DNF. And look at this traffic right here, right behind Scott Dixon. Here comes Power working his way around Graham Rahal, trying to stay on the tail of Dixon.
He's on the move. He's flying right now. He almost got both of those guys.
Well, both of those guys were 4 laps shy of where they needed to get to make it on one more stop. So I think they've realized that, turned up the fuel knob, and they're going for it now. Here comes Power again.
Big run.
To the inside. Will Power looking for the lead, and he's got it. Will Power takes the point from Scott Dixon.
Now we got some racing going on. Tires are going away. Guys are making moves in traffic. Will Powers put his foot back on the gas pedal. He's back out to almost 5 seconds.
Look at Tony Kanaan.
We see Kanaan and Marco racing for position, but right now Powers got his foot down on the gas, and he's trying to stretch out that lead, and he might be having to come early.
Ooh.
Oh, car coming in.
That's
Ryan
a surprise.
Well, he was the earliest of the leaders to pit. He pitted 4 laps earlier.
He stayed. He pulled on track. He's dead stick.
Well, this sounds reminiscent of Pocono a couple of years ago when he had the power go off.
He said, what happened? There's the yellow. Yellow flag for
all the way in, Ryan.
For the yellow car. Hunter Ray just said, what happened? I don't know. The engine just shut off, as you said, Kevin. That's happened before.
It'll take a power cycle, Ryan, and refire.
Pits are open. Power, Dixon, Rossi, Newgarden, Jones, the top 5. all headed down pit lane at 50 miles per hour, right on the brakes, right there, headed towards Anders.
Yeah, and Scott Dixon had committed to a 3-stop strategy, but now obviously that blows that completely out of the water. He's going to fill that up with some Sunoco fuel, put a brand new set of tires on, and be on his way. Very happy with the balance.
And for Alexander Rossi and for Will Power, the most important thing right now is track position. Yes, they want all the Sunoco fuel to get to the end, but we see that Dixon has launched. We're watching to see, oh, and here comes Power. It's going to be neck and neck, but it looks like he beats Dixon to the line.
Rossi comes out third, Newgarden fourth. Battle for fifth there between Veach and Jones is close, with Pagano close behind. Veach beat him out.
That was a really quick stop by Dixon, a 6.9. Power just barely beat him out.
So we're going to stay on board with Rossi running in third on this restart. Coming back to green this time, just the second restart, all race. It's Power up ahead in front, Scott Dixon in second, then Rossi and Newgarden, all still in the championship mix. That's the top 4 in the championship as we go green again.
That was a second gear restart with wheel spin in the corner.
I saw him drop down to first, so he got a little squirt in first gear, and I think that saved him, barely. I love the fact, guys, that we have 66 laps to go. Nobody's going to be able to do it under green, so if it stays green, everybody will have to make one more stop at the end. That's going to be fascinating.
Ed Jones had a run there on Joseph Newgarden, back there in that second silver car for fifth. Jones in the blue NTT Data car, looking back on board from Newgarden.
The guy to watch out for is little Zach Veach, is all over the back of Rossi. He's kind of come all the way through the field from the back. Look at this kid.
You can call me what you want, but don't call me little. I'm coming in a big way.
Best finish for Zach Veach in his rookie season, fourth at Long Beach. Remember, he had a good run at Pocono, 6th last week.
21, you got to get that. Everybody's going to be doing the same thing.
They're talking to Zach Veach about fuel mileage. So I'm surprised, Jan. I'd be shocked if anybody could make it to the end.
Or I should say in the kind of turquoise and brown car.
Ed Jones, big move right here, big speed going in. He knows that if he's going to keep this job next year, he has got to get in front of Rossi and help his teammate.
And if not that job, he's auditioning for others.
Veach probably knows better than to get in front of his teammate.
Hey, Jan, how urgent is the fuel information coming from pit lane? Is there a lot of chatter right now about mileage?
Well, I think they're going to be turning them loose. If you haven't already turned someone loose now, I think it's evident you cannot make it to the end, so therefore, go for it. You're not going to really save anything by saving fuel now, because I think that's out of the window. Let's go racing and not save any.
Well, Ed Jones has gotten by Rossi just like I said he needed to do to help his teammate. Now his job will be instructed to him is to sit there and stay behind your teammate. We know Rossi is a fuel savings master. He won the Indy 500, but look at this. Will Power is going to be breathing down his neck to put him a lap down.
Power still got a couple of cars between them.
It's okay if Power puts him a lap down, but it's not okay if Rossi falls more than about 15 seconds behind. That's about the 35, 37 seconds it takes that you lose on pit lane if Power has to make an additional stop.
Here's the run. Will Power putting Alexander Rossi a lap down. Rossi on super save. Power going after it, is going to have to pit one more time.
This is the Indy 500 playing out all over again for Alexander Rossi.
So nerve-wracking. There's no way anybody could talk me as a driver into doing this kind of a race. This is not my style. You have to be so patient and just remain so calm when you have all these guys
going in your rhythm.
flying by.
But for Alexander Rossi, this delivered an Indy 500 win his rookie year, so he has the exact same guy on the timing stand with Rob Edwards. Full confidence. Actually, it was Brian Herta on the timing stand that year, but he knows he can do it.
But he doesn't have you right in front of him to draft off of.
Oh, don't remind me.
Rossi, a three-time winner.
On your fuel, just keep working on your lap time, roll as much speed as you can, good on fuel.
This season with Scott Dixon and Joseph Newgarden, Power the leader, trying to get his third win.
They're saying he's good on fuel if he maintains his pace. Is Will Power good on fuel? We don't think so, Jan.
No, in fact, they're setting up to give him a splash and go right now. The Penske crew is getting out in position in pit lane, so Will Power, we saw he turned up the wick. He's going to come in and get a splash of Sunoco fuel. In fact, he's on pit road right now. This will be quick, but again, 37 seconds is with a full fill. So therefore, this pit delta, the time that he loses, will be more towards 30, 32 seconds. Again, did he give enough space to Rossi to get back in contention? This will be a time stop. That's it. 4.2 seconds. And let's watch carefully where he merges. Look for Rossi.
So Rossi should be well ahead of Power. There goes Rossi. And now Power has 16 laps at full fuel. I think he's going to have a great chance to get Rossi.
Well, it'll be no problem. He's got full fuel. He can run wide open. Rossi's got to keep backing it down. So he came out right behind him.
And Rossi is stuck in this strategy now for the championship. He has to hang on just to try to score the most points that he can, but Power is surely going to catch him.
Rossi's concern is really not Will Power. It's where is Dixon going to come out? When will he pit, and how long will he pit, and where will he come out when they cycle around?
And if you're Dixon, Pagano, Veach, you are hoping for a yellow right now.
And is anyone else on Super Save that can try to make it? Scott Dixon, with Simon Pagano running second. Behind him, Zach Veach is third. Spencer Piggott fourth, and Joseph Newgarden is fifth.
Will Power coming up on Andretti. Andretti's got to work his tail off to keep him behind to try to help his teammate, if at all possible.
Yeah, Marco Andretti 2 laps down. I would think race control is going to force the blue flag here pretty soon. Oh, that's going to frustrate Power.
Still +5 back to Marco, 2 back from him.
For Alexander Rossi, he's stuck in traffic too and doesn't have the fuel to burn to make any moves. So
he's got the draft, which is going to help. But look at that big run coming off the corner by Will Power. Andretti doesn't even try to defend, being 2 laps down.
But Scott Dixon in the back there, just behind Rossi, about 5 seconds back. If Dixon has to pit, Rossi will finish ahead and draw closer in championship points.
Rossi doesn't even try.
Inside.
He doesn't even try to defend that position.
Smart move. Championship thinking there for Rossi.
That's for 6th. But Power is the only one of the front runners that is good on fuel that we are certain of. Simon Pagano pits from second, 10 laps short of the distance. And there you see Dixon's team also preparing. Jan.
So that is the answer to the question, which we saw apparent. Without a caution, they need just a little bit of Sunoco fuel. We've seen about 4 seconds is what you need. That's even quicker. The later you stop like Dixon here, it won't take as much to get that fuel.
And that doesn't help him coming in the pits. He got held up a little bit by Chilton. So let's see how much fuel he takes and where he's going to cycle out in relationship to Rossi.
Probably about 10 maybe 6 seconds behind
Man, that's
Rossi.
a fast stop. That's 2.8 seconds, so
where's
a
Rossi?
lot less fuel.
There he is. Rossi on the front straight. Passes start finish. Dixon exiting. No problem. Alexander Rossi goes, but now Dixon has 10 laps to catch him, just like Will Power did.
10 laps to catch, but a lot of cars in between. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and here comes Pagano at speed, so he's got to hold off Pagano. This could turn into a nightmare situation for Dixon if Rossi gets the run on him here and gets points.
Well, but Will Power is in charge unless somehow Zach Veach can get to the finish.
Not the way Zach Veach was driving earlier. That's your answer right there. He has to come in for fuel. He's coming back out. So you've got Kanaan 2 laps down. You've got Marco 2 laps down. Scott Dixon needs those guys to move out of the way to give him a shot at Rossi at the finish.
He's got now a couple of cars he's gotten by. He's got to get by Hinchcliffe. Veach is in the pits. Will Power is back in control. Can Rossi hold off Dixon? 8 laps to go.
Such a disciplined drive from Alexander Rossi to save the fuel, but I'm sure he's frustrated to see Will Power right there for the race win and not really being able to do much about it.
So that battle is for second between Rossi and Dixon with implications on the championship. But this is Will Power's race as he works his way through traffic. Barring a mistake, there's not a scenario where it gets out of his hands. Rossi is trying to make it on one less stop, but Power is already in front and has no fuel concerns.
But maybe Rossi saved it just enough fuel to be able to turn it up in the last 2 laps. We'll hear maybe from Rob Edwards, coaching Rossi on how good of a job. Maybe he's done too good of a job and he's got money in the bank to burn here now.
Well, he goes by Ray Hall, who's been off the pace for quite a while, so now he's got a nice buffer to Dixon. I think this is a case scenario where he's going to ride it home and not worry about Power. See all the cars in between him and Rossi. Six laps to go, a lot of cars. He whistles by Andretti.
Look at that, Alexander Rossi still has a shot here, 1.9 seconds, 5 laps to go. We'll be watching that gap and the gap, which is another 2.1 seconds back to Dixon.
His only chance is if Will Power really gets caught up in traffic.
488 or better, P2, 4 laps to go.
And there is traffic in front of Will Power as Scott Dixon moves past Matthias Lace.
Tell you what, Dixon is now closing fast. He's only got 1 car with Ray Hall in front of him, and Ray Hall's off the pace. He might catch Rossi.
Some really strong, impressive runs tonight. Zach Veach running in 5th, Spencer Piggott in 6th, Ed Jones in 8th, Takuma Sato 9th right now.
Big run by Dixon. He's going to go right by Graham Rahal. In the next car in line is Rossi with 3 to go. He's chasing him down, Townsend.
And I wonder, is Rossi still having to save, or does he have a shot to catch up to Will Power, who's now caught lap traffic?
He's going to catch him on the last lap at the last corner. Does he have enough to turn it up for a corner as Will Power goes by Sato? 2 to go.
At the moment, Dixon's championship lead would be 26 on Alexander Rossi, so this is a big position right here.
When do you turn him loose, Jan? When do you turn him loose?
I'm standing here trying to overhear the radio. There's a lot of conversation here on Alexander Rossi's stands. Of course, I don't want to interrupt that conversation, but they know that they may have to turn him loose to some degree, but run the risk of not making the line.
Huge move for Rossi to get by Sato. Rossi now should have clean air.
He's going to catch him at the last corner. If he can get by Sato, he might have a run to the line, but I don't think he's going to get it.
1 lap to go as Dixon tries to track down Rossi to pick up championship points and finish 2nd. Will Power trying to keep his championship hopes alive. A splash of fuel is plenty for him. Will Power wins for the 3rd time in 2018 and keeps his championship hopes alive.
Good job, guys.
And Rossi hangs on for 2nd in front of Scott Dixon. Big championship implications there.
Look forward.
And the look of elation with his wife, and now tapping the car, hugging the car in a way. And that was an incredible race. Will, getting congratulations from his teammates. That was such a touch and go scenario. First they told you to save fuel, then they said go for it. Did you have any idea when they pulled the plug that was going to work for a victory?
Well, I was seeing the number that I had to try and get, and I was like, man, everyone's going to have to go very slow to get it. And I thought we should go, and Roger just said go, so we did. And I mean, we had a great car. I was able to pass people. I was kind of mad at Dixon because he pushed me out in the marbles, so it gave me extra motivation to like get him back and try to get to the front. So, yeah, stoked for the Verizon crew. It was, man, whew, never had so much fun and passed so many cars.
What about a race like this where you have to make that decision because fuel-saved racing sometimes can be boring, but then they set you loose. It's almost like a dream come true. Some people are saving and they say, okay, Will, let's put the hammer down.
Exactly. I was just so like, come on, let's race this properly. And I was so stoked when they said, let's just go hard. And because we were able to get by people before that. And so much fun, man, when you can just go wide open. Yeah, I hate fuel saving.
You had a big moment when you got high earlier in the race, got in the marbles and barely saved it. How much of an issue was that?
Yeah, I had a couple of them. I tried to go around the outside Dixon, and he kind of ran me wide in the marble. So, yeah, it was just so slippery up there. You couldn't get up there, but kept it off the wall this time. Yeah, fantastic job.
Brings it home with his 35th career victory, 3rd of the season, and that was a race to witness.
Watch the Grand Prix of Portland, Sunday, September 2nd at 2:30 p.m. on NBCSN.